Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa Cantley. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome back to another episode. We are going to be talking today about my own guiding principles of leadership that I use in my own business, as well as these are guiding principles that I use to help coach my clients. But I also I want to put one caveat out there. Um, I These are my guiding principles. These are guiding principles that I think every leader really should embrace. But I'm not saying that these need to be your guiding principles as well. I encourage you, after listening to this episode, to come up with whatever your own guiding principles are. But at the same time, I'd like you to take into consideration the ones that I use as my guiding principles, especially as we dig into this episode and unpack how I came to what these guiding principles are in my journey, and how maybe listening to each one of them and how I use them and incorporating them into your own principles that you use to lead your organization. Like I said, these are things, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 that um, I use when I am working with my clients, but also as I lead my own team. And when you have guiding principles in your business, guiding principles that you use as a leader, they are really going to help you to harness innovation in your business, really bring innovation, carving your own path, doing things differently, being curious about how the world works, being curious about how your business works and how the two can come together, um, to really move the needle on what you're looking to achieve. They will also help you to increase sales in your business, which everybody wants to do. I don't know any business owner that doesn't want to do that, as well as really navigate transition. And transition can be, as your business grows, how your infrastructure needs to grow as well, how your team needs to grow, and even if, as the landscape and the environment is changing in your industry and just in the economy, how can you really navigate that transition well? There are a lot of leaders out there, a lot of leaders that do not navigate transition well at all. I know companies, corporate companies, who put messages out there, who put notifications out there, who have company wide meetings talking about layoffs, and announcing things, and then nothing happens, and people are kind of stuck in limbo. So there are plenty of leaders out there, plenty of leaders who don't navigate transition well, who don't have guiding principles that they use to lead, who don't embrace innovation, and they wonder why they can't grow past the level that they're at, or why their business stays stuck and why they feel stuck, or even why they burn out. Okay. So I think before you get into the guiding principles, there's 3 things that I want you to understand is, number one, what is it that you're working towards? If you don't understand what it is that you're working towards, it's really hard to lead somebody it's really hard to lead your team. So to really understand what you're working towards, that's number one. Number two, what is it that you believe in? What is it that and we're going to talk about this in one of the guiding principles, but what is it that you believe in as a person, as a leader, as a business owner, as a CEO, okay? And number three, what are you willing to do? How are you willing to um, what are you willing to let go of in order to get to the results that you're looking for? So, what is it that you want to do? Okay. Where do you want to go with this? What do you believe in? And who are you as the CEO? And then number three is, what are you willing to let go of? Because a lot of times leaders want to hold on to old hurt, old hurt, mistakes, failures, what happened in the past. They want to hold on to that. So it doesn't matter what they want to achieve. It doesn't matter where they want to go because they can't get past all that old stuff. So, what are things that you potentially need to let go of? And for me, in going through the past couple years, um, as an entrepreneur, I asked myself these three questions because as a leader and as an entrepreneur, what I started to see is that I was not paying attention to things that I really needed to pay attention to. I was using or I was holding on to a lot of old stuff. I was holding on to a lot of old beliefs about value, where my value came from as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a coach. A lot of old failures, a lot of old missteps. And what happened is that I was putting my energy into the wrong places. And I was also not paying attention to a lot of the really important things in my business because I was so focused on running fast and I was so focused on I want to get here that I stopped paying attention to important things. And what got me back to getting focused again so that I can grow my business. I can achieve all these amazing goals that I have set for myself, but even more so, really get connected to what it is that I truly desire. I asked myself those three questions. Where do I want to go? Like, where am I leading my team to? What do I believe in as a leader? And number three, what is it that I need to let go of in order to step into this new place, this new way of being as a CEO? What did I need to let go of? What was I holding on to that was keeping me stuck? And one of the things that I was holding on to is a lot of the things that I've learned along the way, being exposed to, working with, or working for leaders that didn't treat people well, that, didn't treat me well. Um, didn't treat me well, that um, didn't really have a vision, that didn't do that, all of these things that I didn't realize I was still holding on to. And therefore, my energy was being guided into the wrong direction. My energy was focused on the wrong things because I was letting all these old hurts, all these old failures, all these mistakes, I was holding on to all of that and wasn't really like dealing with it at the time. So, what, as I said, what got me back to getting myself back on my feet and continuing to move forward and being fully transparent with my team was number one, asking myself those three questions. But also, number two, is revisiting and going back to these guiding principles because these guiding principles, I have come up with them over the years based on all of the leaders that I worked with or worked for that weren't the greatest leaders and the mistakes that they made and what I learned from that and what I took away from it and said, this is what you need to do instead. And we're going to go over what those are and what I came up with. Because I think that, again, people open up a business, they decide to start a business, they jump right into it, they jump right into the hustle, they start building a team, they jump even more into the hustle, and they forget about what it really means to lead people, to lead a team, to be the captain of the team, which again is why I've encountered a lot of people who were doing things that they really needed to improve on. And some of which, some they listened, some they didn't, when we would have conversations and when I would coach them. But a lot of the, for myself, a lot of the old failures, a lot of the old mistakes, a lot of the old stuff I was hanging on to. And instead of guiding by these principles that I know to be true, that I know really work to drive business growth, instead of guiding myself with this, I was guiding myself with misdirected energy. So again, I let go of important things in my business. I let go of um, just focusing on the things that I really needed to focus on. So we're going to get back into this so that you can, either take these principles of leadership that I'm defining that are mine, either take these and implement them into your own style, or come up with your own principles of leadership. What are going to be your guiding principles that are going to help you be a next level, new era leader? So let's get into it. Number one, know your North Star, that thing that makes you feel alive. And I know this was an important thing for me, was to go back to my North Star. My North Star is helping people to make their dreams happen by realizing that they can make the impossible absolutely possible. And for the longest time, I forgot about that. And that North Star is that it is that idea, that concept, that whole reason why you do what you do. And it was funny because last week I had a meeting with my mentor and he asked me that question. He said, Theresa, why are you doing what you do? And immediately I was able to go back to that North Star, that belief, that principle of why it is that I coach people today, why it is that I love building businesses, why I love working with people to help them to be better leaders. I have been exposed to a lot of bad leaders, but I've also been exposed to a lot of really good leaders. And I love helping people step into their greatness. So for me, that North Star and connecting to that again was so, so important, because that is what, I mean, it's just what a North Star does. It guides us, right? So when we get off track, that is what brings us back to center and gets us back on the right path and guides us. So understanding what your North Star is and connecting back to it. Number two is live into the conviction that you have and the truths that are true to you. And again, this is another big thing. We never want to waver on our conviction. When we make a decision, we want to stay convicted to it and we want to keep moving forward. Our truths, the things that we know to be true, tie directly to our conviction. And this is how we can get connected back to ourself, who we are as a person, so that we can connect back to who we are as a CEO, as a business owner, as a leader. And I think a lot of times people, I mean, social media makes it really bad, where we look at what everybody else is doing, we look at what everybody else is saying, and we forget about our own conviction and our own truths about things. For the longest time, I wouldn't talk about my story or anything that I was going through, because I didn't want to rock the boat, or I didn't want people to think, like I didn't know what I was doing or whatever. And the truth is that these are my truths. Building this business has not always been easy. It's not always been fun. It's been filled with tears, but it's also given the greatest amount of fulfillment and has really helped me to really define and connect to whatever those convictions are that I have and whatever those truths are. And because I've been able to do that, that is what has made me a better entrepreneur, a better CEO, and a better coach and mentor to business owners. So, really understanding, and I literally have notebooks full of convictions and truths that I have related to leadership, business building, developing your vision, building your team, and building an amazing culture and a customer experience. So, I just have it all laid out. What are my convictions? What do I believe to be true? What are my truths? Because that is how I'm going to guide my business. If something that we're doing doesn't align with what I believe to be true, well, we're not going to do it. And what I believe to be true is going to be different than what you believe to be true. But as long as you are being authentic to your truths and your convictions, it's going to work. You're going to keep your business on course. And when we deviate from that, when we get away from it, when we try and be somebody that we're not, when we try and emulate somebody that we're not, when we put these filters up, um, it doesn't work because we're not standing in that truth and that conviction. One of the biggest things that I believe, which is a big conviction of mine and a big truth, is that when you design processes, standard operating procedures in your business, they connect people together. They humanize business because it gets people from point A to point B, smallest amount of time with the greatest amount of impact. And a lot of people, when I say that, they think I'm crazy. But you know what? That's my truth. And that truth shows up in my business, in my own processes, in how I work with people, and how I work with my team, and just how we do things as a team. So, conviction and truth connects you to who you are, what you believe, and then what you believe as a CEO and as a leader. Innovation and independent thinking lead to the best thing, the greatest and best things that you can create. And that innovation and independent thinking comes from diversity. Diversity has to be important in your business. Diverse thinking, diverse background, diverse experiences. And I think this is something that has been a hot topic for a really long time for a variety of reasons. But there are still businesses who don't embrace diversity. They don't embrace diverse thinking. And I think that that is the fastest way for a business to completely start to backslide, is to not embrace diversity. You cannot have innovation without it. You cannot have you can't have innovation in a business. You can't create new and different things if you don't have diversity. And like I said, it's diverse thinking, it's diverse backgrounds, it's diverse experiences. That is what creates so many beautiful things in this world. So to not embrace it, you're committing corporate suicide. So we want to make sure that we embrace building innovation in our business. We we take that diversity, the diverse backgrounds, the independent thinking that our employees have. We get their insights about stuff, we get their ideas, we get their feedback, and we put it all together, and we're able to come up with solutions to problems faster. We're able to take an idea and make it into something faster, and we're able to scale it faster. So we want to remember that diversity and innovation must work together. One can't work without the other. And we need to harness that innovation and harness that independent thinking in our business, because that is what's going to set us apart. And as a leader, we need to make sure that we are doing things every day to encourage that, to encourage independent thinking, to encourage new ideas and having people. I mean, I worked at a company, like I said, I'm going to weave in the bad leaders and the good leaders that I've been exposed to. But I worked at a company where, and it was even said to me when I brought up an idea about something, I literally was told that my idea was stupid. Why would you ever think of that, Theresa? That is the dumbest idea I've ever heard. And what ended up happening was that idea got implemented 3 months later, and it led to a whole division being born. So, Freud once said that when someone says this might sound silly or this might be silly, the next thing to happen is the most incredible thing ever. So, we want to make sure that we encourage that independent thinking and we harness innovation by embracing diversity in our business. Number four, the fourth principle is vision always. You absolutely have to have vision. It is everything. It is vision comes from a question we've never asked ourselves to get to something we've never done before. We're not going to know how to get there. We just know that this is our desire. It is going to ignite that passion. I heard something the other day that people confuse passion and purpose all the time. Believe me, when I first started being an entrepreneur back in 2008, I used to hear passion and purpose and I was like, "Oh my god, I need to figure out what it is. Like I need to figure out my purpose." Truth is that passion gives us energy. Purpose is what we then do every day using that energy. So it's what we do. So vision, when we have vision, that connects us to that stuff that energizes us. And if we're doing things that energize us, then we're going to live into our purpose, which is what we do on an everyday basis. So vision, we want to have vision always. And again, I have worked for people, and I've also, a lot of the entrepreneurs that have come to me and have said, I want to build my business, or my business is struggling and I feel stuck. And one of the main things, the first thing that we go to is, well, what is your vision? What is that? What future are you building? What future are you creating? And I would say 90% of the time, they don't know. They don't have that vision laid out. So, vision, again, it's a question we've never asked ourselves before. And it's a future that we've never built before. It challenges us to really go to the next level. I hate using that phrase all the time because it's overused a lot, but it really does. It challenges us to go to the next level. It challenges us to think outside the box and really get connected to the desires that we have. And those desires that we have are the thing that breathe life, or the things that breathe life into our goals, are things that we work on absolutely every single day. So we need to make sure that we always have vision. Everything that we do needs to move from that bigger vision that we have. And that vision then needs to be communicated throughout the organization. It is not a once and done thing. A lot of people think it is, it's not. So we need to make sure that that vision is woven throughout everything. How we do things on a day to day basis in our business, how we work with customers on a day to day in our business, how we develop our team on a day to day. Our vision needs to be aligned with all of that. And that's what we move forward from. So we want to make sure that we have vision always. So, number 5, radical resilience. Find your sixth gear. Find that thing that kicks in when you want to give up. Find that thing, because you will get knocked down. Life will knock you down. Life will throw punches at you. Believe me, I know. You'll have unexpected things that happen in your business. Impacts outside of your control will come into your business and will try and knock you down. I think it is The entrance fee to entrepreneurship. It just is. Things that you'll never expect will come knock you down. Um, you'll have, issues with clients, issues with customers, issues with team, natural disasters that happen, acts of God, like all of the things. So we need to have radical resilience, that sixth gear that kicks in to say, get back up and keep going. And when we have that as a leader, that gives us the ability to lead no matter what's happening. And we don't have to do it where we lead and say, yes, we got this. And we want to be vulnerable and say, I don't necessarily know all of the answers to how we're going to get through this, or I don't know all of the answers as to how we're going to get back up, or I don't know what next steps that we need to take, but we're going to figure it out. And I'm going to figure it out. So it's really that connection to your ability to figure anything out. And when we have that, we can take the next step. We can make the next decision. We can stay convicted to this is what we're going to do and we're going to trudge forward. And we do it with being vulnerable to be able to say, I don't have all of the answers, but then also with the strength of, but I'm going to figure this out and we're going to move forward. And then the next pieces that flow from there are the connection and the communication and all that fun stuff. But if we don't have that radical resilience, then we just quit. And I know if you're listening to this, you're not a quitter. I'm not a quitter. You're not a quitter. So that radical resilience connects us back to our North Star, our conviction and our truth, the innovation that we want to create, and our vision for the future. And that's why the last principle is self mastery for hard strategy. Self mastery in how do we connect to how do we connect to that inner knowing, that how do we regulate our emotions when stuff happens, how do we strategically look at a situation, and instead of taking it personal, how do we look at it and say, okay, this is really what happened here and this is what we need to do, and approach it from a standpoint of logical thinking, just thinking of, this doesn't mean anything about me as an entrepreneur, this doesn't mean anything about the business, it just happened. But we're going to figure this out and we're going to keep moving and we're going to keep striving to get to the other side of it. Or, self mastery in saying, I'm not going to let these previous things that happen. I think one of the things, in strategic planning, people will build their future plan based on the results that they had in the past. So instead of looking at it and saying, okay, this is what happened, what did we learn from it? Okay, but this is where we want to go. We're going to take these learnings and this is what we want to do. We don't know how we're going to get there, but this is what we want to do. But instead, they say, last year we did X, we missed our target or we hit our target. So this year we're going to add 20%, or we're going to, and that's how they end up figuring out their strategic plan. So this is why I say self-mastery, mastering what is in between your two ears and staying connected to yourself before you dig into the hard strategy. Everybody wants to dig into the marketing strategy. They think as a leader, we need to have a hard marketing strategy, a really rock solid marketing strategy, which you do. Really need to have a business, a strong operations, which you do. We really need to have that strong, lead gen strategy, and it's got to be going, and this is what we're going to do, and here's our KPIs, and which you do. You need to have all of that. But the first thing, it's the thing that everybody wants to forget, which is why we need to ask ourselves, what are we willing to let go of in order to step into greatness? we need to have that self mastery, that ability to regulate our emotions when stuff happens, that ability to manage the thoughts that come into our head, and then what we do with that to create the belief about our ability as a leader or our belief about what's possible in our business. And then that ends up impacting the actions that we take and the actions that our team takes. So when we have that self mastery first, we're able to execute the strategies well. We're able to execute the resilience plan well. We're able to execute the development plan really, really well. When we don't have that self mastery, sure, can we execute all that stuff? Absolutely. Will it be done to the highest and greatest level? No. And I know this to be true. So we want to make sure that we focus on connecting to who we are, managing our emotions, really looking at our business and saying, okay, these things happened, but they happened to make us better. These things happened so that they didn't happen to hurt us, but they happened to help us to learn something that we needed to learn. Or this product failed, and it failed. It doesn't mean that we're terrible as a business or we're terrible as a development team, but it just means that there's a better way to do it, and we just need to find it. So it's our ability to not take things personal. It's our ability to really look at the context of a situation and really form a positive perspective about it. And when we're able to do that, the strategies, the tactics, the goals, the execution, all of that stuff falls into place. So if we go back and we have my guiding principles, and again, you can take these guiding principles and you can figure out like, oh, I really like them, and that connects to me, and that means something, and I want to implement that back into my business. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to come up with my own. Either or, these are mine, and I know I know that they work. Again, using these to guide me in my own business is what has helped me to build my business, but also is what has helped me to guide and coach many, many, many entrepreneurs, CEOs, and leaders in businesses. So, number one is to really understand and connect to your North Star and let that be your guiding force that makes you feel alive. Number two, connect your conviction and your truths about what you believe to be true to yourself. Number three is embrace diversity and harness innovation and independent thinking in your business. Number four is you always want to have vision. Vision is key, and it has to be first. Vision, always. Number five, find your sixth gear and have radical resilience. And number six is self-mastery before hard strategy. So again, there was a point in time when I let things go. I did not focus on the things that I really needed to focus on. I did not um, I did not harness my energy and put it into the right things because I was letting past stuff dictate. I was letting current circumstance dictate struggles I was having, challenges I was having, obstacles that I was facing. I let those two things dictate how I felt about my business and also the actions that I took. And when I realized it, like I said, I asked myself three key questions. Where do I want to go? What am I gonna who am I? And what do I need to let go of? What has been holding me back and keeping me stuck? And then from there, I go back to those guiding principles. And these guiding principles will show up all over the place. Making sure that I stay in integrity, making sure that I stay in alignment, and making sure that I always keep connection with the people that matter, my team, my customers, my family. and really not letting all of these external impacts impact what I'm doing to make a difference in this world. So until next week, have a great rest of your week, and let's all take care of each other just a little bit more than we already do. Hey there, thank you so much for listening. If you found value on the show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.